Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are going deep on the incredible story of basketball. We're going to find out how a simple idea, one meant to just keep some athletes busy during a cold winter, completely blew up and turned into one of the most popular, high-flying sports on the entire planet.
Okay, so let's just start right here, because this says it all. On one side, you've got the very first game ever. We're talking 18 players on the court at once, 2 actual peach baskets for hoops, and a final score of 1-0. Yeah. And on the other side, you've got the game we know today, the global spectacle. So the big question is, how in the world did we get from that to this? Let's get into it. You know, our story doesn't start with some grand vision for a global sport. Nope, it starts with a pretty simple, practical problem. Just picture it. You've got a bunch of rowdy athletes, they're stuck inside during a brutal New England winter, and you need a sport that's less likely to cause injuries than, say, indoor football. What do you come up with?
Well, back in December of 1891, a guy named Dr. James Naismith, an instructor at a YMCA in Springfield, Massachusetts, was given that exact job. And his solution? It was genius, because it was so simple. He grabbed a soccer ball, nailed a couple of peach baskets up on the gym balcony, and wrote down 13 basic rules. He called it basketball. 2 words. And believe me, not everybody was instantly sold on the idea.
You'd think the students would have been excited, right? Well, not exactly. One of them, a guy named Frank Yahan, apparently just grumbled, "Harumph, another new game." But despite the skepticism, they played that first game, 9-on-9. And a student named William R. Chase scored the one and only point, making a little bit of history. And this is my favorite part, because it really shows you how basic things were. See, those peach baskets Naismith used, they still had bottoms in them. That meant every single time someone made a shot, the entire game had to stop so a janitor could climb up a ladder and get the ball out. It seems so obvious to us now, but yeah, it actually took a little while before someone had the great idea to just cut the bottoms out.
And the rules themselves? They made for a completely different game from what we watch today. For example, in Naismith's original 13 rules, you literally couldn't run with the ball. You had to throw it from the exact spot where you caught it. And get this, if one team committed 3 fouls in a row, the other team was just awarded a point. No free throws, just, here you go, you get a goal. It's a huge change from the game of free throws and possessions we have today.
So, as you can probably guess, a game this simple, this fun, it was way too good to stay locked up in one gym for long. You just knew it was going to spread, and boy did it spread fast.
I mean, just look at this timeline. Within a year, it was already being adapted for women. 2 years in, it's being played in Paris. The YMCA was like a global ambassador for the sport, and later, the U.S. Army took it all over the world during World War I. By 1936, that's just 45 years after it was invented, basketball was an official Olympic sport. That is just a meteoric rise.
So, what happens when something gets this popular? Well, the next logical step, right? People want to start getting paid to play. And that led to the messy, chaotic, but super exciting era of early professional basketball.
Now, the NBA that we know and love today didn't just pop up out of thin air. It was actually born from a merger. First, in 1946, you had the Basketball Association of America, or the BAA. Then, 3 years later, it joined forces with its main competitor, the National Basketball League, and they rebranded as the National Basketball Association. And the rest, as they say, is history.
But before the NBA brought all that structure, the pro scene was a bit of a Wild West. It was all about these independent barnstorming teams that would travel from town to town, playing anyone who would challenge them. You had these legendary teams like the original Celtics and the New York Renaissance, who were the first all-black professional team. And these were the real trailblazers. They built the foundation for pro basketball.
Now, even after the NBA got going, it had a serious rival in the 60s and 70s, the American Basketball Association, or ABA. The ABA was the rebel, the cool upstart. They were all about flash, a high-flying, above-the-rim style. They even had that iconic red, white, and blue ball. But their most important innovation, the thing that would change basketball forever, the three-point shot. Eventually, the NBA absorbed the ABA, and when it did, it took its best players, that flashy style, and most importantly, that three-point line. That merger, plus some other key rule changes and a whole new breed of superstars, well, that was the recipe that launched basketball into the stratosphere.
What's so fascinating here isn't just the rules themselves, it's why they were changed. The league was always tweaking things to make the game better.
They widened the free throw lane to stop huge centers from just camping under the basket. They brought in the 24-second shot clock to kill stalling and speed things up. And then, in 1979, officially adopting the three-point line, that completely changed offensive strategy forever.
But rules alone don't make a spectacle. The NBA needed drama, it needed a story. And in the 1980s, it got the perfect one. Magic Johnson and his flashy Showtime Lakers versus Larry Bird and his tough blue-collar Celtics. This rivalry wasn't just basketball. It was East Coast versus West Coast. It was a cultural event that totally revitalized the league and grabbed the whole country's attention.
And then, after Magic and Bird, came Michael Jordan. He was something else entirely. He wasn't just a player, he was a global icon, a brand, like nothing the sport had ever seen before. His unbelievable talent, combined with the crazy star power of the 1992 Olympic Dream Team, didn't just grow the game, it turned basketball into a worldwide cultural force.
So when Jordan's time at the top was ending, the torch had to be passed. Out on the West Coast, you had the dominant duo of Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal creating a whole new Lakers dynasty. But at the exact same time, a totally different kind of revolution was happening. When Yao Ming came to the Houston Rockets, he didn't just bring his skill. He opened the door to hundreds of millions of new fans in China, cementing basketball's place as a truly global game.
And that brings us right up to the modern era. For the last 20 years or so, LeBron James has been the one carrying that torch. He's become not just a once-in-a-generation talent on the court, but a powerful voice off of it, really becoming that modern global superstar that guys like Magic, Bird, and Jordan first created. So from a simple game with peach baskets made up just to beat the winter blues, to this multi-billion-dollar global spectacle, what an incredible journey. It really makes you wonder, right? What's the next step? What's the next evolution for this game? What's it going to look like 50 years from now? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this one.
So next time you watch the NBA, remember, if you enjoyed this history, hit the subscribe button now. And if you think this was crazy, you need to see the dark history of football on your screen right now. Did they really use human heads? Click to find out.